Hello, hello, hello. What's going on? What's going on? Hello, hello. Testing, testing. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. 1 point? Yeah, okay, that's fair. Hold on. Alright, hold on. Let's pull up the whimsical. Alright. Let's do this. And we can cross this off the list because I'm now caught up to Kagurabachi. So that's nice. I think so. Kingdom or Vagabond? Let's be realistic. I think I'm gonna read Vagabond next. All right, what is going on, everybody? What's going on? First of all, let's get this out of the way real quick. So I'm just gonna hit play here. I just want to make sure that this works. Can you guys can see the Netflix thing, right? Taptia says, you missed my super from last stream? Oh shit, what was it, Taptia? Can you tell me tell me what it was? I can look it up for you, but if you recall it, if you could just type it again, that's good. A full day delay is definitely that. The show's not out till today. Yeah, Tapti, if you want to just type what that was, then that's all good. So first, can people confirm? Do you see you guys can see it? Can you see the Netflix logo? There's a theory about what happened to Rox's family. All right, okay. Look, I can pull it up. Give me a second then. But in the meantime, can you guys confirm? Yeah, we can see it. All right, now I'm going to hit play. So let's see if I hit play. Can you also, shit. I should lower the volume here. Yeah, if I hit play, do you guys see what's playing? Does that happen for you guys? Make sure no desktop audio is coming through or anything. All right. The only reason I'm asking is because I know that Netflix, Crunchyroll, Netflix, etc., they tend to black out the visuals for their stuff. Just wanted to make sure that everything's still working the way that it's supposed to. Because I figured I did some tests. It didn't seem to be a problem, but you know how I am with technology. I think I poorly estimate things at some point, and then it doesn't work. Let's see. So some supers from last time. Garling was killing them after they turned back, says Tiptio Treviso last time. That's possible. That's very possible. Yeah, I mean, that could have been the case. I mean, ultimately the island goes down, so they all die. But it's kind of crazy. Yeah, no audio. Okay, so then we're all good. So then this should be, I should be able to watch this worry-free. It's an hour long. What chapter? There are no words that can describe how bad the chapter was? What are you talking about? The slander of Chainsaw Man is... Oh, no. No. Chainsaw Man's ending next chapter? I'm not... Chainsaw Man Part 2 ends next chapter. Gonna catch up next. Okay, I'm no Chainsaw Man spoilers. No Chainsaw Man spoilers, please. No Chainsaw Man spoilers whatsoever. No spoilers. I am very curious to read it and find out what happens. But I don't know what could possibly be going down right now that people are really disappointed in. Don't read Chainsaw Man Part 2, just quit the manga at the end of Part 1. I mean, I think the good thing about it is that Part 1 ends on a note where it's like, okay, that, like, the whole story... So honestly, all of Chainsaw Man could have ended at the end of Part 1, the only loose thread would then have been mild spoilers. The only loose thread would have been like the mention of the Four Horsemen and stuff like that, and like some mystery regarding what Pochita actually is, stuff like that. So, but it wouldn't be like major, like you would feel like you read a complete story, you know? With just a few potential hanging like question marks that you want to explain. So I think Chainsaw Man Part 1, I don't think that's going to be affected by anything that happens in Part 2. Corny K27, thanks to the 5, confused about the relationship of Ragnar and Ratatoskr. Jarl's explanation in 1175 implies they existed at the same time independently. Well, it sounds like Ragnar was just the hammer that this dude had, and then the squirrel was its own independent being, and then it somehow chose to become one with the hammer later on. I don't know how it could have done that. That doesn't really make sense to me, but it seems like it's not like a devil fruit hammer. You know, it seems like the squirrel just has some magic properties or some shit, right? Are you planning to read it next and analyze it? I'm definitely going to finish it out. Tapio is asking, Chainsaw Man Part 2 and 6 chapter going to catch up next? I think that'll be a good time to catch up. Obviously, I just finished Kagurabachi. I'm going to be watching the rest of the One Piece live action. I'm only watching Part 1, or Episode 1. Let's get streams up to 50. I'm only going to be watching Episode 1 here. Only watching Episode 1. Reason being, I've told you guys this on many an occasion before, but I generally like watching things that I'm actually interested in and actually planning to, enjoy. I prefer to watch comfortable, in bed, in pajamas, relaxing. All right? That is my preference, okay? That's my preference. So, with that in mind, you can understand why maybe I don't want to be watching the One Piece live action like, I'm just not a natural, like, my preference is always just going to be like, if I'm actually going to enjoy this, I just want to enjoy it in my own space, in my own comfort. I don't want to be reacting for other people. That's just the way it is. Even just down to like, even if we just took everything out of the equation, right? Everything out of the equation. Let's pretend there's not even no chat, no viewers, nothing. Let's pretend it's for like 0 viewers. Even then, this chair and this setup is not how I would like to watch a show. I like to be either on a couch or honestly in bed. I like my bedroom TV. I like to be lying in bed, comfy. That's my favorite position, and then watching on the TV over there. So, no matter what, it's just, that's why I don't do chapter reactions. That's why I just don't do general reactions, yada, yada. So, all that being said, I'm down to do the first episode, though. Just the first episode. Just the first episode. Let's get stream likes up to 50 real quick. To I see your next comment. I'm just going to respond to JP real quick because it's relevant to what I just said. JP, thanks for the 5. If you're not super far behind, you should catch up on Chainsaw Man on stream, this or next. So that's like an example of what I mean, where I will catch up to Chainsaw Man soon, but I definitely, how do I say this? Yeah, definitely, I don't think it's going to be something I'm going to enjoy doing on stream. That's just not me. Any thoughts on how I think about Kagurabachi now? All right. I'll say this. For those of you who have not gone out and tried Kagurabachi yet, you need to go. It is... I caught up at the perfect time. It is... Honestly, besides Chainsaw Man, I think it's got the best, 100 chapters of any manga I can think of, any shonen manga I can think of. That was really, really fucking good. Maybe, no, never mind. Any shonen manga I can because then you can get into, Naruto's Chunin arc and stuff like that. So let's say in recent times, right? Let's say in the post-Big 3 era, Kagurabachi's got the hottest start of any manga that I can think of. It's like really, really like the writer. Who's the writer? What's the Kagurabachi author name? Kagurabachi author. I'm so excited for an anime. There's no series out there that's better deserving of like high quality action animation than Kagurabachi. Like so lots of series do some things better than any others, right? I would say Kagurabachi, one thing, and this is not the only thing it does well. It does many things well, but one thing that it does better than any other series that I can think of, period, is does it do fights better than any other series? That comes down to some preference, because like you might like it's good in terms of strategy for fights. So like it's not weak there either. It's strong, but you might prefer some Jujutsu Kaisen or something like that, or maybe some Hunter x Hunter or something like that for strategy. But Kagurabachi is very good in that department as well. And then in terms of pure action cinema, as the kids call it, and then the suspense and rising stakes of the action, it's like it's just it is. There's nothing like it. Like watching Kagurabachi fights is really like, it feels like every fight is a showstopper with like a lot of thought behind it. And the guy is just a master at. So one thing that Demon Slayer does well, like if you've seen Demon Slayer, like the Entertainment District arc or something like that, right? One thing that Demon Slayer does well is giving you lots of moments in the, like lots of twists and turns over the course of a fight. And even if the fight isn't strategically complex, it gives you lots of twists and turns and moments of like, oh shit, things just went south, to oh shit, things just really amped up. And it gives you lots of points of climax where you think that the fight has reached its conclusion, and then you find out that there's still more to go and it's going to go up a notch, right? Kagurabachi does that really, 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 really well. And probably better than Demon Slayer in that regard. And its fights are cerebral on top of having really amazing dynamic action choreography. Just the way he's able to take you on a roller coaster with a lot of these battles. The other thing, definitely, obviously, really, really good at is just in terms of plot. I felt the plot was weak at the start. I was very wrong as the story progressed. He's able to create a very compelling plot that feels like it has stakes very fast, and again, it feels like he's planned out in every arc. You know, like several points of surprise, several points where things just like spiral into something bigger. I think I and everybody really likes arcs where you go into it expecting something, and then things just keep snowballing and getting crazier and crazier to reach like a finale that's much grander, more epic, or more exciting than you would have thought. He's done that for most every arc, I guess, outside of the beginning of the story so far. So and the storyline that I just finished is just like so stupidly, like, for a manga that's only so far along, like 110, 113, 14 chapters along, for it to have just done an arc like that early in the game is like crazy good. And the big thing that is compelling to me about the arc that just finished is that it establishes something that I felt while reading it, is that the author has a really good grasp of narrative structure. I'm big on narrative structure, like actually having thought out beginning, middle, end, etc. He has a full storyline very cleanly plotted out, and he just concluded one major movement of his storyline. And, I'm just really encouraged by that, because it means that things are going to come together in a way that makes sense. But just the Kagurabachi can feel nonstop once it really gets going. Because it's a real page turner. I know that's a cliche, but it just is. I was trying to find stopping points last night. I couldn't. I finished it all out. It's just because once things are in motion, it just hits you with like big moment after big moment after big moment. And again, the fight's just crazy good, crazy creative. The last thing I'll say, I know a lot of Kagurabachi talk. I know that's not fun for some people. I would say I would recommend you to try it, and I'd recommend you to get like some ways through. I don't know what that means. It's only 113, 114 chapters, I think. I would recommend you get at least through the auction arc, and then it only gets better. That's the other thing I would say about it. I'm saying so many good things already about it, but always encouraging to see a manga, show, anime, whatever, where every arc is better than the last arc. So that's always a really good sign, and I would confidently say that's the case with Kagurabachi. When I closed out the auction arc, I was like, okay, that's huge. That was really good. That felt like a big moment in the story, so I kind of expected maybe the next arc would be a little bit softer or like more low-key or something like that, but it's not like it doesn't have downtime, but it does know how to keep escalating in a way that doesn't feel forced. Yeah, just a lot of good Kagurabachi stuff here. Recency bias here is insane. What did I say that... I don't think anything I've said... I'm just talking about fights and stuff like that, right? Wait, what the... how is this anything? This is not related to One Piece. I did acknowledge that I think I went too far in saying that the first 100 chapters being better than any other manga is not correct. I think the big three... When did the Soul Society arc go through? Soul Society... I think the big three all had a phenomenal first 100 chapters. Soul Society arc actually takes a long time to get to. Okay, when does the Chunin exam arcs? Chunin exams chapters. 34 to 100. Okay, I would say One Piece and Naruto. I think they both have stronger. Yeah, I think still One Piece and Naruto, I would say their first 100-something chapters are stronger. One Piece, it's complicated. It's mainly like the emotional storylines that come through, particularly with Arlong Park. And then Naruto obviously has the Chunin exams. But Kagurabachi's first 100 chapters, I'd say in recent, let's say post-Big Three, I think it's the best I can think of outside of Chainsaw Man. Like, just getting the story started. The other thing I would add is that, Kingdom is next. Who's my favorite character? I really like... I mean, this is obvious, but Samura, right? I like the main character. I was liking him quite a bit before. I think he's been overshadowed a little bit in recent chapters, but that's correct. That's the phase of his journey that he's at. So I like the main character, like Samura, obviously, and then I would say the big villain that was just dropped on us, just dropped on us and stepped out. Very excited for that character. Kingdom is next, yeah. Oh, you're talking about chat? Oh, okay. Fairy Tail had a good 100-chapter run, too, before completely falling off. Fairy Tail had a very satisfying 100-chapter run. I remember those arcs. I think they take on Jalal then, Gerard, whatever. I think everything up to that arc I thought was solid. I didn't think it was phenomenal, though, but I thought it was solid and promising. And then I think things kind of got a little... They got more topsy-turvy and Fairy Tail-y as time went on. The other thing I would add is... the last thing I would say about Kagurabachi is... it builds its world very quickly and efficiently, so I think that's good. I think that the power system. Okay, so if you guys remember when I first started Kagurabachi, I was very sketchy about the power system. This is not big spoilers, but the gist of it is, this is established very early on. The gist of it is that like everybody's got powers, but there are 7 special swords that are out there that are specific to certain individuals who are the only ones who can use them. And those swords grant you powers way beyond what normal people can have. Okay, so it's kind of like you've got 2 separate power hierarchies. You've got all the normal sorcerers, right? And like you got some weak ones, middle tier ones, strong ones, super strong ones, etc. And then you just got 7 characters who can use the swords, and basically it's implied that they're just all on another level. Like, it's kind of like 7 characters who have ancient weapons, and then everybody else is playing by normal rules, right? So initially I did not like that, because I was like, it feels weird that only 7, like, you have one of these swords and you're almost automatically above everybody without the sword, and it's just 7 characters who've got the sword. It felt kind of limiting to me. I did not like that initially. Now that I've seen a lot of the swords in action, I love this because I think what the author... One, I don't think there's going to be a very, very long story. I think Kagurabachi, it's set up for maybe a Jujutsu Kaisen length type story. So I think it's going to be under 300 chapters based on the pacing that everything's going at. And the point in the main character story that we're at, I think it's set towards wrapping. I think we're not at the halfway point, but I think we are not far from it. Yeah. Bottom line, because it's not a very long story, you don't actually need like a shit ton of characters with these swords, okay? 2, here's the cool thing about the swords. So I think I really like that the author went for quality over quantity when coming up with characters' abilities. How do I explain this? So every sword, like, it has multiple abilities. So without spoiling too much, what's really cool is that it's kind of like the abilities are all very unique. So every character with one of these special swords gets 3 abilities that each on their own would, in most other series, be a complete ability for a single character, and the author would call it a day. Does that make sense? Like, the author is essentially giving like 3 full character worths of abilities to everyone with a sword. So everyone with a sword actually has like a lot going for them, which makes things very interesting because they've got a ton of so like a simple comparison, it's kind of like if every character with a sword was kind of like Blackbeard in One Piece, where you've got not even just 2, but like 3 devil fruits, right? So it's like, if you've got a sword, you've essentially got 3 devil fruits that can do 3 things that are all pretty elaborate on their own. They all fit together thematically in an overall like concept. It's not totally random. It's not like one ability is like shooting fire, but then the other ability like summons hot dogs or something like that. I guess that's kind of thematically connected, but the abilities are generally connected, but each individual ability is robust enough and does like several things, if that makes sense. So it's pretty cool. It's like, I just like the author could have essentially made like 21 swords, but instead he was like, it's cooler if you condense them, right? Each sword has 3 abilities, right? It makes it very exciting to see what a new sword can do, because sometimes you see a sword and it's like just using one of its abilities and it's pretty elaborate, and then it busts out a second ability and it's like, holy shit, it can do that, and then you don't even see the third ability till much later. So like, if I were to, this is a brief spoiler, but just to sell people, and then we'll get to One Piece. Brief spoiler, it's a minor spoiler, but I think it's pretty, it gives you an idea of why the sword stuff is cool. I was fooled because the main character, he has a sword, and his sword did 3 things, but at first it's not that well developed, so I didn't really get the concept at that point in time. It's only as you get later and you understand just how robust these abilities are that it really becomes interesting. But like, as a simple spoiler, let's say there's a character who has essentially abilities that are very, very similar to Marco. Like, all of Marco and One Piece's abilities, even more elaborate than Marco's, right? Like, very similar, but just even more developed as more things, right? So imagine that as a whole concept for his sword powers. But that's just one of the sword powers. And then on top of that, he's got all of Minato's abilities from Naruto, right? So again, it's like 2 characters with really cool abilities that in most other series, that's like good enough. Like, that's a pretty filled out, fleshed out power set. But in Kagurabachi, you've got one character who's got both of these full abilities and just as fleshed out as it would be in those series. And that's just 2 out of his 3 abilities. So he's got 3 abilities. And I know I'm stressing 3 abilities, but I'm trying to explain that it's not just like, oh, like, here's like 3 things that kind of go together that are simple. It's more like these are 3 separate abilities that are all really like very developed and would, in most other stories, just be a full character's power set, and it would be really cool. Like, Marco's got crazy cool abilities that feels like that's enough for one dude. Minato's got crazy cool abilities that feels like that's enough for one dude, but Kagurabachi just stacks a bunch of those really cool concepts into one, and now you got a character who can do a lot of crazy things. So anyway, that's just a general. So you're cooked if you don't have a sword in that circumstance. Yeah, so that was one thing I didn't like early on, but as the story goes on, it is actually enjoyable. It is actually enjoyable. Again, to me, that was a turnoff early on, but I do actually like that. And there's ways that seeing characters who don't have swords try and come up with tactics and stuff to deal with characters who do have swords is cool, but it also feels... It just adds a lot more weight when you see two characters who have the swords go at it. And there's a lot of stuff going into like characters who are training to become worthy of wielding a sword and stuff like that. Just because there's going to be so much stuff on display once two sword wielders are going at it. Anyway. All right. Yeah. No more. Yeah. So it's like a Bleach character with 3 bankais. Yeah. That's similar. That's similar to the concept. Yeah, the main character kind of fooled me because it was just like I thought his abilities are pretty simple at first. They develop more later. So, and yeah, just like another simple example, the first villain that he fights. This is like the most minor spoiler, but like no, actually, I don't want to spoil anymore. You guys go ahead and read it. Like I would say that the first couple times you're seeing the swords, it's with characters who aren't as good at it. So it's like, okay, there's multiple abilities, but it's not as I was still iffy about it, but then once you get further into the story and see characters who are much better at using their swords and stuff like that, then you get like the full idea of just how crazy the sword stuff can get. That's all. No more Kagurabachi spoilers, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna continue on with Kingdom. Rayuchia, thanks for the 5. You probably don't remember, but when Season 1 was airing, I correctly predicted that Season 2 would be up to Drum Kingdom and Season 3 would be Alabasta. Shouts to you. I strongly thought that they would try to get to Alabasta straight away to ride momentum, but I think in the long run, this is the better route. They know better than I do, obviously. Like, you really want to do justice to Alabasta. And as long as they could... Because I kind of just felt like in the next... Like, in the lead up to Alabasta, I was like, how are they going to... Like, there's not a strong concluding point, and there's not that much hype stuff that happens. But I'm recognizing now that in a live action format, maybe just the sheer cool factor of seeing stuff like giants and dinosaurs and traveling up and down Reverse Mountain, maybe that could be good enough on its own to really keep people tuned in. And then people look forward to Alabasta even more. I just have no idea how they're going to keep the story going and going for how are they going to complete out all of One Piece? I think that's the tricky thing. Like, even Game of Thrones went 8 seasons, and that was considered very ambitious. Even if we get 10 seasons at this pace, it's not going to do it, Episode 1 was so good, you're not ready, Morge. How did people feel? Do people like it? Okay, actually don't spoil though. Has anyone finished it? Netflix did want to skip arcs and go to Alabasta, but Matt Owens told them no. Good on Matt, but I think Matt's out, right? Ender says, Morge being quick to judge only end up being proven wrong. A tale as old as these streams. Yeah, I think that's happened for... I think that's like... What's my rate in terms of, like, me trying a series and then me thinking it's going to be bad and then it turning out to be me actually enjoying it? I think, like, generally if a series gets recommended and I try it, I think I usually end up liking it despite disliking the concept initially. Gachiakuta, I think that's the... I mean, I did drop Gachiakuta, so maybe it gets good later, but that was one that people pushed me towards... I straight up dropped it after they revealed that their coolest character is just his ability is just Polly's ability from One Piece. After that happened, I was just like, okay, I can't watch this show anymore. This show is not feeling it. I've talked about this guy before, but Gachiakuta, like, I gave it a shot. I think I gave it several episodes, And I wasn't really, like, I think the main character has a really cool power, but everybody else, it's kind of, there wasn't that much interesting stuff happening or going for it or whatever. I also don't like the setting of, like, a trash world or whatever. But I was giving it a chance, and then there were no abilities that were too interesting or cool. So I'm, like, giving it a chance. The fights were whatever. And then, it's like, finally things are kind of stretching thin. And then there's this one dude who's, like, their ace, right? Like, like, the squad. He's, like, supposed to be the cool character. You know how, like, every show has, like, this character that they kind of be hiding in the background or whatever, like, implied to be the best fighter in the squad or the unit or whatever, like the cool dude, right? The cool dude. So then he finally reveals his ability. Keep in mind, in this show, like, so far characters have revealed abilities like a water sprinkler is their ability, or like scissors, not like magic scissors, not even like Inazuma scissors, just scissors. Okay, like, she cuts things with scissors, okay? Again, like, I don't think anybody's like, oh my god, Inazuma's ability in One Piece is so cool. It's kind of like, okay, that's like a throwaway ability. Imagine a worse version of that, but this goes to, like, the main girl of the story, okay? So already the abilities are kind of rough. The main character has a cool ability, but that's it. And so I'm waiting, like, is something really cool going to happen? And then finally they're like, all right, this dude who we've been kind of low-key hyping up for a while, we're finally going to reveal what he can do. And then he pulls out, like, yarn or, like, rope or something like that. It's just rope. Not magic rope. Not, like, rope with special properties. It's just strong, solid, like, thick cable rope. And he can tie people up with it. And then he reveals his ultimate technique. This was mind-blowing to me because they spent, like, a whole episode, like, hyping it up. He reveals his ultimate technique, which is, like, once he's tied people up, he can spin this thing, and then the rope spins them around. And after that, I was just, my brain broke. I was like, this is like, I don't even know how to say. It's like budget Sasuke, but, like, even, like, if you had a budget version of Sasuke, and then you're like, this is too expensive, we can't afford budget Sasuke, do you have something else? And then they're like, okay, well, we have, like, this version of Sasuke that we found in the Lost and Found. Like, it's literally free, you can just have him, nobody wanted him. I think that's basically what it is. So once that happened, I was like, all right, this is, I don't know if I really want to, I don't know if I want to continue on with this show. Yeah, so I'd say Gachiakuta has been the only miss for me. And again, it's like, well, Morch, do you just care about shows for abilities and stuff like that? No, but Gachiakuta also didn't really have anything else going for it, so that was the only thing that I was really, like, still waiting for. It was like, okay, don't really feel about the setting. Main characters, These characters, nothing really standing out to me just yet. Plot, seemingly like it could go somewhere, but not really hooked or anything. And then as it's going on, at a certain point, I'm just like, all right, I'm just kind of done. The funny thing is he was holding back his real abilities. So here's the thing. I got suspicious. I know you're lying because I went to the wiki after this because I was at the point I was going to drop the show, right? So I went to the wiki. I was like, is that really it? Is that his full abilities? I wanted to give him a chance, but not like a chance as in, oh, I'm going to watch like the rest of the season. I'm not going to watch like 20 more episodes to find out if this dude can do more than just rope stuff, right? I went to the wiki and I looked it up. It is just rope stuff. There's nothing else. Unless I'm missing something. There's just rope stuff. He can do slightly more with the ropes than what I described, but the ropes aren't special. There's no magic to the ropes. It's just, there's very little he can do, I would say. There's like one thing from what I can recall. There's like one thing he can do that Paulie from One Piece cannot do. That's it. There's like one thing. Besides that, it's just Paulie. So imagine a series that you're watching where like the coolest character in the show is Paulie, and then everybody else has worse abilities than him. That's not very appealing, you know? Fate Strange Fake has been a great show this season if you want to try that, Morge. Fate Strange Fake, so I watched the first episode. So the first episode was like a special episode. Fate is actually maybe the other series I would argue was a miss that people kind of recommended to me. I've watched both Fate Unlimited Blade Works and all of Fate Zero. I dropped Fate Zero in the last couple episodes just because I genuinely lost interest. Fate has been bad. It's just bad. It has really good action. It's like so sad because it's got such phenomenal action, but just interlaced, like sandwiched between so much ass. And like, I watched all Fate Unlimited Blade Works, and people were like, no, you got to try Fate Zero. Like, that's where it's really at. It's like really deep and complex and stuff like that. And then you watch that, and it does have somewhat better storytelling than Unlimited Blade Works for sure. The characters are somewhat more interesting to follow. It is not deep. It is not complex. But the characters in the show talk as though everything they're saying has like the weight of the universe behind it. And it's just like, okay. But the fights are good, but the fights are slightly worse than Fate Unlimited Blade Works. So it's kind of a trade-off there, because it's like, okay, well, the storytelling is somewhat better, but not significantly, but somewhat. And then the action is somewhat worse. So we're losing something here for both. I genuinely I dropped Fate Zero after it got to... I dropped it before the final fights, because like the fights they're trying to frame it as though it's like these really deep contrasts in these characters' philosophies and what they stand for, but it's really not. I skipped the fight. Like, the final fight is between like Kotomin Kirei and like the dad of the girl from Unlimited Blade Works. It's just it's incredibly lame. I skipped that fight. I skipped even Saber's final fight in that. I just wanted to watch Gilgamesh's final fight. I was like, that was good. I like that one. He killed the best character in the show, but yeah. So Fate sucked. Both the Fates sucked. Terrible waste of time. So I would say that's another win for me, where I kind of thought Fate was cool when I initially tried it, but then I got further and I was like, never mind, it's just not good. So I'd say Gachiakuta. I think people recommended Fate enough to me, and I was like, this was bad. Here's the thing with Fate Strange Fate. I heard that Fate Strange Fate is very different than the other Fate series. And I went and watched the first episode. It was like a special episode. I think it came out like over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. That was cool. I thought that was pretty cool. So I thought that was fun. And it is like a different, more fast-paced style. It's been described more as like a free-for-all. So I was interested in that. I think once the full season of Fate Strange Fate finishes out, then I'll go watch that. I want to rant about Chainsaw Man Part 2, but I'm not going to spoil March. Yeah, please don't. Let me watch. Let me read. GDY7 says, I agree. I tried to get into the Fate series, but that shit is so ass. Sucks because the concept is so cool. Yeah, that's the problem. The concept is just so cool. The concept is awesome. From what I have read and heard from other people, the reason I tried Fate Strange Fate is because from what I've heard, that is the Fate series that kind of just leans hard into the cool part of Fate, which is just that, look, it's a fucking battle royale with mythical and historical warriors from all eras or whatever battling over a holy grail. Like, what could be cooler than that? You, in theory, can't mess it up unless you overestimate how compelling your main characters are, which Fate, in my experience, has consistently done, right? But Fate Strange Fate seems like it is finally delivering on the concept of Fate that I found compelling. For those of you who don't know, Fate is a series where, like, all sorts of ancient heroes like Hercules, Gilgamesh, characters like Jack the Ripper, like real people, like they're all brought in from all eras past, throughout history or whatever, and once from the future, which was bullshit because as far as I know, it doesn't happen again. But anyway, brings together all sorts of characters from the past, and has them fight over the Holy Grail in a Holy Grail war. That's pretty cool. Can't mess it up, but you can, turns out. So I'm hoping Fate Strange Fate just plays into Fate's, like, strengths. And, I'll watch that. JWP, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 39 months. Unkman just watched Baki, hashtag I know ball. I watched Baki. This weekend I actually watched Baki on Sunday. I've been using my free time a little bit. So, first of all, thank you for being a Pirate King tier member for so long, man. Make sure you get your submission in if you have not already for the Pirate King podcast. I will be recording the Pirate King podcast tomorrow, so everybody get your submissions in. I'm Yeah, just everyone get your submissions in. For those of you who don't know, Pirate King Podcast, it's once a month podcast for Pirate King members. All Pirate King members can submit their questions, and then I answer every single question in great detail. It can be about One Piece, other anime, manga, movies, TV, video games, whatever. It can be about anything. Yeah, I answer every question in far greater depth and detail than I usually get a chance to do on stream, and every podcast is roughly an hour and a half or more these days, and you get access to all previous podcasts, so definitely go check that out when you get the chance. And yeah, JWP, if you have not submitted already, make sure to get your submission in. I did watch Baki. Baki's tricky. I think the series kind of hit its... I like the arc. I kind of knew a little bit about what goes on with this Baki arc beforehand, because I was curious what happens after what should have been kind of like the final fight of the series. It's enjoyable still, for sure. I don't know if it matters. I don't think Baki spoilers matter. Like, they're fighting Musashi. I think I was a little disappointed by the way the big heavyweight showdown teased at the end of the season, or like teased, like the big heavyweight showdown that happened right before everything wrapped, like at the climax of these episodes. I didn't think that was as cool as I'd hoped. It's the fight between Yujiro and whatever. Okay, like I don't want to give too many spoilers. It's a Yujiro fight, right? So I was a little disappointed by that, and then after that, I didn't even bother watching the next episode. Anyway, Toriko needs a new anime adaptation. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I'm seeing Toriko be advertised on Netflix nowadays. I heard Toriko ended like a little bit fast, you know? Like, I heard Toriko had a very rushed conclusion. X2X's Morge, was Reverie week to week the best weekly experience as a One Piece YouTuber? So at that point in time, I wasn't really covering One Piece weekly. That was the era where I would like come through once every like 4 or 5 months or something and drop like a YouTube video or something like that. But it was rare, so I wasn't covering it week to week. I remember like Reverie is one of my favorite times period to be a One Piece fan, for sure, because a lot of things were coinciding. So I wasn't yet. So one, it was a period of like I was on an absolute One Piece high because I really liked Whole Cake Island, and I still had a ton of optimism heading into Wano. But then the Reverie was giving us so much exciting stuff. So like, I think you're always gonna really love a series when like you just enjoyed everything you just read. So Whole Cake Island. I'm loving everything that's happening right now in Reverie. So all the crazy reveals and all of that stuff, right? And then I have boundless optimism and faith in the thing that's coming next, which is Wano. So like all of that set up for tremendous positivity for me as a One Piece reader. I think for like in general, I remember the community was overwhelmingly happy about Reverie. I think for a lot of people were like more mixed on Whole Cake Island, so I don't think my sentiment was exactly the same as everybody, but I think a lot of people were like, all right, we're happy to be out of Whole Cake Island, we're loving Reverie, and we're all very confident for Wano. I think everyone was very confident for Wano, and pretty much everyone was loving Reverie, right? I was like one notch even on top of that, because I also liked Whole Cake Island a good deal. So, all of that, and I loved Zoe. So, for me, that was all phenomenal. And then on top of that, I had now stepped into being a One Piece YouTuber, even if it wasn't like a constant thing I was doing. It was like an on-off thing that I was doing, and I was finding some level of success with it. So, in the, like, as a contributor, I guess, contributor feels like a weird thing to say. Like, you know, as a participant in One Piece discussion with, like, a platform, that felt really cool, too, because it was like, I'm loving the story. I get to, at points, like, share my ideas and stuff on the story. And now my platform is growing, so people are really resonating with that stuff. So you get a nice feedback loop where the positivity I feel towards the series is also fed back through positivity towards, like, how the channel is building and stuff like that on the side. This was not a period of time where I was thinking about, like, trying to really zone in on YouTube. It was, like, the thing that I was doing on the side. But yeah, like it's just two things, right? So it's like joy as a pure One Piece fan, and then joy in terms of like, oh, this thing that I'm working on that's One Piece related is also launching further at the same time as One Piece is in such a good spot. So for me, maybe that was my favorite time being a One Piece fan. Maybe that was. It's hard to explain. Like, I don't know if that's my favorite time. Because, like, I loved it obviously so much in, like, Enies Lobby, Marineford. I think maybe I had to refine some of my love for it after Dressrosa. Because I think I was just, like, post Dressrosa, it had just been. I was so excited for One Piece coming out of the time skip. And it's just, like, week to week, Fishman Island was not enjoyable. Anybody who was Fishman Island week to week will tell you that. Week to week, I actually kind of like Punk Hazard week to week. A lot of people didn't. And then week to week, Dressrosa is just fucking difficult to get through. Like, it was genuinely, like, a lot of people like Dressrosa now, but I think anyone will tell you that week to week Dressrosa was fucking hard. Like, really hard to get through. It was Oda's first time that he really did that thing where he, like, does a shit ton of plot threads at the same time and, like, a whole bunch of diagrams and, like, moving the story forward 1 inch chapter by chapter. Now we're more used to it, actually, but back then it was just like, holy shit, what is happening? So that's essentially, like, my extreme excitement coming out of the time skip, being met with, what would that be? 600 through 800, 200 chapters. Oda's putting out, like, maybe at best 40 chapters per year back then. Yeah, like, a solid 5 years, like, at least half a decade, 5-6 years of not really getting a lot of exciting stuff, in my opinion. But then between Zoe, through Whole Cake, through the hype of the Reverie, the optimism from Wano, everything kind of grew back up. And then I'd started the channel, so yeah, all of that. Anyway. Anyway. Act 1 in the anime was so far with the music and all that. Oh, Wano? Yeah. I didn't really watch, but I do believe that. Anyway, all right. Yeah, I loved Act 1 of Wano too. I could argue that my hype continued on in Act 1 of Wano. Act 1 of Wano, it does have like a dry spell in terms of exciting stuff for a while with the whole Bakura Town raid, but the conclusion, very, very exciting. All right. GDYY7 says, my favorite part of the post-time skip is how the story doesn't decline gradually. It immediately shits the bed with Fishman Island and keeps going. I don't fully agree with that, but that's funny. Hey, Mo, did you already watch the episode? No! You know what? Hold on, what are the likes? Let's get the likes to 50. We get the likes to 50 real quick. No, actually 60. Let's get the likes to 60, and then we'll start the episode. Let's get the likes to 60 real quick. Whiskey Peak and Twin Capes full episodes, and Morge thinks Thriller Bark will be one episode. I think it depends on what they feel are, like, important points of the story. Because they can just cut, like, a full... Like, they cut all of Don Krieg, right? So you can cut stuff. It just depends on what they feel are important. Like, I think you need Whiskey Peak. But you need Thriller Bark for Brook. Yeah, I guess Thriller Bark's also just a really fucking difficult arc for them to do, though. Because they gotta fight Oars. I don't even know how they fight Oars in this. Because, like, in this, everyone's nerfed. You know what I mean? Because, in obviously, in, like, the main story, right? Or, like, in the actual original canon material, they fight Oars, and that's obviously very difficult for them, right? But it's also implied that a lot of that difficulty is because Oars isn't just like a big giant monster, he also has Luffy's fighting skills, right? So they're fighting something that's like several times the size of a giant, but also is a really good fighter, yada yada, right? The difference here is that, like, it looked like from the previews that Dorian Broggy, so giants are going to stay the same size. But the thing is that the Straw Hats, like everything is much more toned down in the live action, right? So as far as I remember, it's not like does Luffy punch out a Sea King in the live action? No, there is no scene of that, right? Luffy doesn't punch out a Sea King, right? Like, so by the live action standards, the Straw Hats aren't really like they're strong, but they're not crazy strong, you know? I guess Luffy still brought down Arlong Park, so that feat is the same, but overall they're like, you know what I mean? Like in the manga, in chapter 1 of One Piece, literally from day 1, Luffy was capable of punching out giant monsters, you know? Like, you know, they get to stuff like Momu, which is way bigger than the giants, and Luffy's able to handle that, right? So things are scaled a little differently. So I'm curious how they will handle things that are actually like super gigantic, big-sized monsters and stuff when that comes up in the live action. Because the live action characters are a bit more grounded, you know? You only need Brook and nothing happened from Thriller Bark. Yeah, that's my thing, which is like, Thriller Bark itself is not really important to most of the characters outside of Nothing Happened and Brook. It's really not. Thriller Bark is so not important to the plot that the craziest thing to me, and this has never happened in One Piece before that I can recall, is that, so the whole arc is about defeating Moriah. Moriah is back up the next arc. Like, next arc, they're calling out for all the Shichibukai to get prepped to fight the Whitebeard pirates. Yeah, that includes Moriah. Like, Moriah just shows up with some bandages on his head, and it's like, all right. Like, that's the strange thing about Thriller Bark, because with every other storyline, it feels like when the villain is defeated, there's something of significant permanent consequence. So, like, you know, even the East Blue villains, right? Kuro's defeated, goes to, like, he's captured after that, right? Or is he captured? Maybe he's not. These villains, maybe Kuro and Don Creek aren't defeated, I forget. But they're small-time villains. Let's say bigger villains, right? So, like, Arlong. Once he's defeated, a whole village is freed and Arlong's taken to jail, you know? Wapple's defeated, the whole kingdom is freed, right? Wapple is permanently deposed as the ruler. Now they have a new ruler, right? Crocodile defeat, obvious, right? Taken to jail. Baroque Works, yada yada, right? Like, Baroque Works taken to jail. The whole kingdom is freed, right? Like, with Moriah, it was weird because, so they defeated Moriah. The main thing that happens is, I guess, the Lola pirates get to leave. But then Moriah's not taken off the board. Like, he's kind of just, it's kind of like they just made Moriah have a really bad day, and then he's still just doing it. Like, he's not even removed as Shichibukai. There's no consequence, really. He is removed as Shichibukai later, but that's because he was too weak in the war. So it was like, okay, you fucked up, like, multiple times now. It's not like because of just Luffy they're removing him, you know? There's not a bounty increase even. I don't think, nobody even references that Luffy defeated Moriah, like a Shichibukai again. Like, when they get to Sabaody, nobody's talking about, oh my god, Luffy, the man who just defeated another warlord of the sea. It doesn't seem like anybody knows that Luffy even did this. So it's just an arc that feels like it has very little consequence, even to Moriah's own life. You know what I mean? Moriah's defeated and people get their shadows back. Yeah, but the difference is that it's kind of like, it's the vague concept of, like, some people somewhere get their shadows back. In terms of tangibly what we're interacting with, it's just that little crew, like Lola's rolling pirates. And it's like, okay, well, we freed them, you know? That's why it feels really inconsequential, I feel like, in the grand scheme of things. It's not quite the same as, like, saving all of Alabasta, or even saving, like, Nami's village, because that's a village that we really, like, get to know the full history of, and the people of, and everything like that. So, like, I'm not saying nothing happens. Well, nothing happens, you know what I mean? But I'm not saying literally nothing happens in the arc. Things happen, but I'm just saying that in terms of Moriah's defeat, it doesn't seem to change that much for Moriah himself even, right? It's not the same as, like, when a lot of our other villains are defeated and it feels like something very conclusive is happening, that they're being taken out of the picture or being taken to jail or, like, something like that, or their whole what they've built collapses or whatever. And I'd say part of that is because Moriah, like, it's not even... It makes sense even in the long run, because as it turned out, Moriah wasn't even that bad of a guy. Like, he didn't kill people. Like, as far as pirates go, if you were to come across a pirate in the grand scheme of things, like a Shichibukai or whatever, Moriah is one of the better ones that you could run into. Because otherwise, like, if you run into Mihawk, he, slaughtered... God, who knows how many of Krieg's men died with the Mihawk situation, right? Boa Hancock, your whole crew's permanently turned to stone, right? Doflamingo, you become enslaved or something like that. Crocodile, so much. Like, that was the thing. Moriah, like, the further we learned about Moriah, it turned out, oh, he's Kazuki Moriah. Like, he was once an honorable warrior who fought for his country. Like, yeah, he's a pirate. He'll do pirate things. He'll take your shadow. But that's not that bad in the grand scheme. Like, you're not dead, you know? It reminds me kind of like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where if you lost a duel in Yu-Gi-Oh!, your punishment was being sent to the Shadow Realm. I learned much, much, much later that the Shadow Realm in the original Japanese version meant death. Like, you died. You lose if you lose a duel, but they had to soften it for American children audiences, and so they made up this concept of the Shadow Realm, right? Which is like, okay, they're not going to die, but they get dropped into the Shadow Realm or whatever, right? It's funny because, like, Moriah is the One Piece version of that, and it's actually the case. It's like, if you run into this big, bad, nasty pirate, you might die, but not if it's Moriah. If it's Moriah, it's Shadow Realm time. Like, your shadow gets taken, and that's really bad until someone defeats Moriah. You know? One sec. Kunal Dushingwall, thanks a lot. Hi, Morge. As a Zoro stan this season, literally made me like Sanji ever more than the anime did. This season literally made me like Sanji more than the anime ever did. Why, lol. Also, Tashigi was so good, man, but the real highlight was Dr. Hero Look / Chopper. Grab a tissue, AO. Oh, I'm interested to hear that, because the Chopper Hero Look stuff, I think, is the most important stuff for them to nail in this. I'm really curious to see how they do that. I would not be surprised if this show makes people like Sanji more, because Matt Owens is more of a Sanji fan than a Zoro fan, and he's the writer behind this, you know? Crow Stray got thanks to 2. Which Straw Hat would click with your friend group the best? It depends, because I have a friend group here, and then my longest standing friend group is back home. Let's see. So it's 2. I think it's 2 separate things. If it was back home, I would say maybe Usopp. I think Usopp just fits into anything, and he's fun and no, but people might get annoyed about Usopp's, like, in the real world, people would get annoyed at Usopp's lying all the time. That's the thing. In the real world, a lot of the Straw Hats' mannerisms are going to be really grating. Like, Luffy, really fun character to watch, obviously. For me, my favorite main character in anything, like, it's Luffy, right? In the real world, Luffy would be by far the most annoying person to ever have to interact with. You know? One, he's not going to remember your name. He's going to always call you something that seems to, more so just based off your physical appearance or something like that. You might call me Beard Guy or something like that. Or Indian Guy, I don't know. It doesn't learn people's names, is very obnoxious, very loud, doesn't listen. You can't have a conversation with him. Does things that are very wildly destructive, you know. Eats all the food. It's not, you know, like, if my village was being attacked, then fuck yeah, he'd be a great friend to have. But that's low-key the only reason Luffy makes any friends at all in One Piece, is because people's villages are constantly being attacked, and he's constantly swooping in to save them. It is very rare that people meet Luffy and aren't just like, you know, like, I think outside the context of, like, him saving your life, he's not somebody that you're like, oh boy, I'd love to hang out with this dude, you know? So, Yeah, I'd say I kind of want to say Usopp. He's fun. Maybe Frankie. I think Frankie's fun in like a more grounded sort of way. I think Frankie would be fun to have around no matter what. You know, he's fun. He's goofy. He can build stuff, I guess, if that's needed. Yeah, I'd say Frankie. All right. Also remember, Luffy only showers once a week. Yeah. All right. All right. You guys want to get into it? Let's get into it. Let me make sure I'm not missing any supers here, real quick. All right. Do I want a Coke? I want a Coke. All right. I'm grabbing a Coke, and then we're gonna start once I get back. Give me a second. Harley, out. No, Harley, out. Good boy. All right. Let's watch. Let's watch and hope this does not get copyright struck. I'm excited. Wait, this is the wrong one. Oh shit, we're starting with Loketown. Oh my god, what the fuck? I'm genuinely really excited here. Let me do a double check on the supers. Alright. Alright. I gotta remind myself that the One Piece live action is not trying to do like a particularly gritty and realistic rendition, obviously, but and I remember that from last time, but I just gotta like really remind myself like this is even a step back in terms of like seriousness of how it portrays things, even from stuff like, you know, like Wednesday or Fallout or something like that. Like this does right off the bat this scene of like the Marines being shot at and stuff like that, and like having to get up and fight through gunfire or like artillery fire and stuff like that. It feels like something that like home video type stuff, you know? All right. Oh no way! Oh, I thought that was Mr. Two for a second. Oh, this is cool. Hold on. I might have to put on subtitles. I hate putting on subtitles, but I'm trying to keep the audio low. All right. Yeah, this is just like very campy. Is he gonna shoot like a booger bomb at him? Oh shit! They got Robin. Oh, this scene they played in the trailer a lot. Commander Ripper. Oh shit. So what's funny is I remember during the I talked about it in the trailers and stuff. I was like, I I was worried that people who haven't seen one who are not familiar with the anime and manga, I was like, oh, they're probably watching these trailers and like, I was like, why don't they have like a big scary villain that they're teasing throughout this? I was like, they probably want to see some evidence of a bad guy. And then you guys viewers have to remind me like, dude, people probably think that that the flower lady Robin is like the main villain of the arc, and I'm just so ingrained in One Piece that that thought doesn't even cross my mind because I'm like, oh, that's just Robin, you know? It's a weird thing to say. That is wild to see in live action. Oh shit. That is so that is so crazy to see in live action. What the fuck? Oh shit. I thought she was gonna do the thing where she turns the gun back at him and shoots him. Oh. I'm trying to process this how I'd process it if I was a non-anime viewer. The other reason I'm probably not going to react to the majority of these episodes is because I do have to like write notes and shit, which I'm just not going to do right now. I'm not going to do right now, but generally speaking, I do like want to write notes. I like the continuity that Zoro killed in season 1. No, I should write notes. I should write notes. Okay, hold on. I'll just do blind notes, like not really super detailed. I like seeing the crew all in flow with one another. I think Nami's being a bit too mean to them here. They just saved you in your village. So the biggest difference they made with this is that they pretty much just made Sanji more of a normal dude, which is not how Sanji actually is. That almost feels like a little meta reference because the we didn't get Loketown in season one. I'm having a hard time evaluating like the dialogue and everything like that as a non, like pretending I don't know the story. You know, I think I might not like it that much if I was just a blind viewer, but I don't know. Oh, what? 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 They got Roger's actor here again. I know that he was in the first, first season, but I thought it was gonna be quick. What? What the fuck? Why are they talking? Why are they talking? What? Why are they talking about God Valley here? What the fuck? Why are they even saying that name? Sengoku's not supposed to talk about this till like season 12. He's gonna talk about Ace here? There's no fucking way. No way. Okay. Let me just take stock real quick. What are people saying? Maybe they cut Sengoku. Is he important? Yeah, I guess let's just see. I'm trying to keep open-minded. Like, if I'm a non-anime manga viewer reader, how do I feel about all this? This is cool. I like that Iñaki Godoy has no sense of like it's Luffy-esque. Like he has no sense of like. I feel like shame is like a mean thing to say because I mean it in a positive way, but like he does not mind how he comes across. He's genuinely enthusiastic, so I think that works well. He's a fun person to watch if you like give in to the corniness of it. I hope they do Zora's sword scene well. Foreshadowing. I think Nami's a little too mean. I think Nami's a little too mean. I'm actually going to put that as a note. Okay, here we go. Oh shit, that's a cool entrance. My favorite pre-time skip characters. Sad that he's going to be irrelevant in the future. I like that they got funny designs for like random characters like in Lookdown. That's funny. That was funny. There's no fucking way. What? They're What? What are they doing? They're Bartolomeo there? Why? He's not gonna. Like, what are they planning? Are they gonna use him again? Like 15 years from now? That same actor? I get the desire to connect things to the future a little bit more tightly, but this is like Bartolomeo's not even gonna fucking show up forever. That's crazy. I'm not saying that as criticism. I'm just like shocked. Oh. Hmm. That's nice. I like this conversation. What? What? Oh, Tashigi. That's a funny line. Is exactly. Tashiki's actress is good. I actually like her already better than the anime slash manga version of the character. This is a funny scene. I like how they made the sword look. Looks a little different. Oh, that scene looked cool in live action. I think they did it a little fast, but I guess you have to. It's complicated. I like the sword toss itself. I think the scene just moves a little too quickly. I guess they have to do that. This is one of the best Zoro scenes. I actually want to watch the owner's reaction again. I like that scene. I like how they did this. This looks good. I'm hungry for this. I don't like what they've done with Sanji's genuinely a different character. I don't know if that's a critique or not. Like, is this an improvement for Sanji? It feels like in this show they basically were just like, well, Sanji's just gonna be the cool, suave, charming dude, which is like he's that like 50-50 in the pre-time skip, but he's not just that. Again, it's not about like how exact it matches it to the anime and manga, because that's different. But I don't know. Maybe it makes him more popular among live action fans, in which case it's not like a bad change. It's just a change. So Bartolomeo's legit like a character. She obviously stole something from him. So I think one of the things I don't like about Nami here, I think so season 1 Nami I enjoyed because it made sense that she's always standoffish because she wasn't actually like part of the crew yet. Like they're all just working together and she's keeping her guard up and everything. I think I don't like her so far in this season because they're making her very combative and kind of mean for no reason. Because like, so in the anime, usually what works well with Nami is like other characters are stupid and do obnoxious, irritating things that leads to Nami as a sensible person like snapping at them, and it's fair because it's like they're being annoying and irritating. I feel like with this so far, there's been a lot of moments where characters are being like the Strats are kind of just asking normal questions or having normal conversation, and she's kind of just being mean to them by default, which is weird. So I'm not liking that. The Sanji change is one that I think isn't necessarily a bad change because if people like him, like if live action viewers like him like that, then it works. But the Nami change, I think I don't like because if I was just a live action viewer, I'd be like, why is she being so mean? Like, what's the. Sometimes they just say simple stuff. Like, it'll be a normal conversation, and then she'll just be like, a little bit, just like, you're an idiot for even asking that question, you know? Tashigi's right there, bro. The shop owner got great character development in this as well. More just not into dominant women. No, it's more so like the next person said, being mean just to be mean. That's just kind of being an asshole. I think that's not a fun character trait for any character to have. Like Usopp would be like, "What's in Loketown?" And then she looks at him like he's stupid. She's like, "It's got like the most Marines in the East Blue, you idiot." It's like that's normal to not know to ask a question. That was funny. I'm genuinely confused what they're trying to do with Bartolomeo here. That was funny. Oh, like this. Alejandro Ramirez says, "I'll take Nami being mean over punching them, haha." I mean, that does not translate well to live action, obviously. But I would rather, at least in the anime format, I would rather Nami snap and then there's a comedy punch. Oh, hell no, you don't take the hat. Oh, shit. To me, it's just the reasonableness. Like, in the anime, usually when, or manga when Nami usually, like, flips out and punches or deals damage, it's like, it works as a gag because it's after a character has done something that's deserving. Like, he just got the name wrong. Like the scene. We get Alvida too. That was funny. Her name, you remember? I did not think Alvida's actress was good. I thought she was a bad start to the series, I remember. This is the first Gum Gum move of the season. Okay. With the sea stone handcuffs. Yeah. Okay, liking this. Kinda. Buggy is still one of the best actors in the show. I think juxtaposed with Alvida, who I think is maybe the worst villain actress in the show. I don't know. Glad they're keeping this scene. I think I'm gonna like this Smoker Tashigi dude. I think Tashigi is genuinely more likable here than she is in the manga. In the manga, she's just irritating. Here, her enthusiasm is actually somewhat endearing. Her nerdy enthusiasm. I like the haggling gag. It's funny. Zoro's actor has really good comedic timing. I didn't realize that was Buggy in that. That's funny. No, that's some Game of Thrones type bullshit. That line, the most powerful thing is a story. We already know how that goes down. You don't need to say shit like that in One Piece. Wait, are they not going to end up on the execution stand? Okay, they are. This is Nami to fight Alvida? Oh, cool. Oh, fuck, Kabaji's back? Oh, yeah, they didn't actually get to fight. Oh. Good shit. Damn, Nami's going toe to toe with Alvida. Oh, good shit. Oh, that was smart. I actually like that. Time out. I like that. I just processed that. That made it so that it couldn't slide off of her. That's cool. I like that. I'm writing that down. Oh, that was funny too with the Sanji Usopp attraction. That was good. I like this. Hold on. Hold on. Crew teamwork is cool? Yeah. It's a little cringe with the zoom out and everything like that. Might have to write that down. Oh, that's a good line. Oh, Zoro Sanji teamwork like that. Oh, Bartolomeo is still here. See, now we have the context. So now we know that was Loki. I think they did that scene good. I think I like Luffy's final laugh. How much episode? Okay, so we can still deal with Smoker and Dragon and stuff. Hmm. Here we go. Thanks. Yeah, are we getting Dragon? I'm pretty sure we get Dragon, right? Like, I know we're supposed to get Dragon, but I saw people in chat talking about Dragon. But they haven't teased him at all so far. Zoro's fights are always very well choreographed in this. He doesn't kill almost anyone in this show. I don't think he killed Kabaji. Oh shit, here we go. Oh shit. Oh, he's just beating him up. They probably want to save the budget a little bit for how many times he turns into smoke. Ah, this is cool. Oh shit! No, even in the live action, Sanji's getting used as a hype tool. I think this is beat for beat how their fight in the manga goes. I think Smoker should pin Luffy now. Because they're adding a bit more. Oh shit! They're really making Smoker a problem here. Oh my god. This dude could low-key fuck up post-time skip Smoker in the anime. They're making the ability really cool. This is a good season, episode 1 debut. Oh shit! He's fucking up Luffy! He's fucking him up. He didn't do all this in the manga. Where's Dad? Where's his dad? Oh my god. No. Did I miss something? Did they show him at all at any point before this? This is too fast, too random. It's just like grab arm, turn, like literally 1 second later he's like you. Am I missing something? Did they show him at any point before this? Even if they like, okay, they don't have to show him before this. That's fine. They don't have to tease him before this, but the scene is like this is all like 2 seconds. It's like a character we've never seen before grabs his arm. He's immediately like, "You, world government is looking for your head." Like, what the fuck? Like, for me, even if like, even if like in real life, I was like just walking around or something, and then suddenly somebody grabs my arm or turn around and it's like Dwayne the Rock Johnson or something like that, I wouldn't just be like, you're a famous actor. That's not like a, what the fuck? This is not good. Even the way this is shot is weirdly amateurish. He reaches his arm out and then he hesitates for half a second and then grabs the arm. It's really minor, but it's awkwardly clunky for no reason. Like, just reaching out and grabbing the arm is better. This would make more like, he's like, you, if I'm like a blind viewer, I would have assumed that, okay, this is somebody that exists on the island we haven't heard of, but now he's saying the world government wants your head, so it's like, this dude's really random. That kind of sour, because they did so good with the Luffy smoker scene. I thought that was really good. The conclusion is just really abrupt. I think what I'm feeling so far is I think the scene direction is worse so far in this episode. Anime Dimension, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 40 months. Just a reminder, please go get your submissions in for the Pirate King podcast ASAP. I will be recording it tomorrow, so get your Pirate King podcast submissions in. They showed a hooded figure watching Straw Hats when they entered Loketown and splitting up. Okay, so I messed up. I think I didn't see it. They showed a hooded person. That's my bad. The other difference I would point to is that in the manga and anime, it wasn't just like a shot of a hooded person. It was, you actually get that whole spiel with, what do you call? You get that whole spiel, the narration spiel, and you get Dragon's first line. He's talking about Luffy and everything like that. So there's some more setup. But my mistake. We did see the hooded person. I didn't catch it. But the scene itself is like really fast. Do you think it's confirmed Dragon has a wind-based ability because Oda should have approved it? That's a really good question. It's a very good question. Maybe it does confirm that Dragon has a wind-based ability. That's a really good point. I mean, like, he's always been, obviously associated with the wind and storms and stuff like that, but people interpreted these Loketown scenes in different ways. I always felt like it was very likely it's wind, just based on how that interaction goes, but this seems pretty blatant. Oh, shit. Dragon looks kind of like Morpheus. Why did you say go forth? Like, it's one, like, I think if you're translating, like some things are just gonna sound worse in live action. You know, that's a weird line to have him say. Like literally say go forth. What the? No way. I'm gonna be so upset. Is that fucking Sabo? What? What are we even doing now? What? Have they already cast Sabo? What are we? What am I looking at? Why is? What is happening? Why are we? Oh my god! All right, all right, all right. I think it's cool to tease things that come in the future, but this is like so far in the future that unless Sabo's incorporated much earlier, then this is just stuff that's kind of like extra fluff being added to the story that is not going to mean anything for a Netflix viewer, right? It's kind of like you're going to feel like, "Oh, what was that? Like why did the door open to show this character?" And then you're not going to find out who the character is for like 8 seasons later once you've forgotten completely. So it's like extra fluff. Or you're a manga and anime viewer and then it's like a cool Easter egg, but it's not really adding to my experience watching this. So I don't know. I don't think the scene direction was good. Oh my god. I think season 1 had some very well directed scenes. I haven't felt that so far this season. She's gonna invite her to Baroque Works. This sounds like she's coming on to her. This really sounds like she's hitting on her. Damn, Robin could do the clones already back then, huh? I'm just kidding. No, I'm not gonna watch the next episode. Okay, okay. So I've thoughts. Oh, it's not. Okay. We're gonna keep it short. The full review. First, let's get the stream likes to 100 real quick. I'm gonna watch this over the next couple days, next few days. Full review will be out Saturday morning. So watch out for that. We'll try and make it a little lengthy, like we did, like season 1's review. I think it was like 40 minutes. So yeah, watch out for the review. Okay. Yeah, the season has been great. More to episode 3 had me on a trend. Okay. I'm very interested in Barrow scene was last season. Yeah. And Barrow scene was the perfect thing to end last season on. I think so with this season, so let me be clear. This season I'm going in with higher expectations because season 1 I came in with very low expectations, and then after I watched like the first episode, I was actually like, "Oh my god, it's brought to life. It feels so cool, etc." Here I'm a little bit more, critical, I guess, because I'm like the novelty of it has worn off. I don't think I loved this Logtown episode. I think a lot of it felt it just didn't feel as engaging like in any the actual Logtown arc in the manga is very short. I think it's like 4 chapters, I want to say. And the thing that I'm going to write these notes as I think them. Logtown in the manga is amazing for atmosphere, right? So it's really good for atmosphere. It has a sense of mysticism. This felt very campy. It felt uneven. It had good moments and little scenes and like little bits. Even good scenes, I think they weren't good from start to finish. Like, I loved Zoro with the Kitetsu, but I feel like the scene they could have spent more time on the scene in general. Like the Kitetsu moment was good, but they could have spent time. I'm trying to separate a little bit more from like, okay, well, this is what the manga and anime was like compared to the live action, because I really do want to review it more so from the lens of like how is it as a live action show. But yeah, it felt like this episode just felt like a lot of, like, for me, if I'm watching it as a live action viewer, this episode felt like a lot of stuff, like lots of random stuff. Just kind of all thrown together. Especially the dragon element. Yeah, it just feels like it feels a little, I don't know. I won't say I don't think yeah, I won't say I disliked it, but it feels like Logtown is just such an easy one to knock out of the park, and I don't think it was that good. Bartolomeo getting shoved in was weird. Yeah, because I think that the Bartolomeo stuff padded out. Like, if you're like a live action viewer, you can already recognize that this character is not a big deal character, right? He wasn't even in the canon material, but I'm saying if I'm like a live action only, you can already tell like this character is like a really small town, whatever, not really an important type character, and it just feels like his interactions with Luffy are padding out time. And it just sets up for running into Buggy, Yeah, I'd say that this episode, it felt like it had a lot of scenes that were just not that much sauce to them, I guess you could say. All of them were original scenes, right? I think they're trying to maybe do more with the Sprock's interactions with one another, like Usopp giving a call home and everything like that. I don't think that that's that. I guess if you're trying to make a full episode out of it, it makes sense. I think the biggest thing was the direction. It did not feel like there was weight to most of what happened here. I think that's how I felt. I might feel, yeah, I fuck with live action Buggy. Yeah, the Buggy thing is tricky because like when you get the Buggy scenes, it almost reminds you of like, oh, how exciting things could be, because Buggy really brings a lot to the table. He makes up for a lot of like the relatively, I don't even know what to say about the scene direction, because it's like, I can't think of a show of comparable like concept, like what, like a Wednesday or a Fallout or something, like we're not even getting into like Game of Thrones, a House of the Dragon or anything, like where scenes are really directed with like a lot of weight and gravitas or whatever. But let's say something that's a bit lighter, right? Lighter, more fantasy, kind of goofy in some ways, whatever. Even by those standards, this episode feels pretty amateurish. Again, I ended up really liking season 1, so don't take this as like a critique. It might be a premature critique. All I can say is I did not care for the scene direction in general of this. It's hard to take almost anything seriously, and obviously One Piece is supposed to be more goofy and silly, but there are moments that you're supposed to take seriously, and like those moments felt kind of campy, even those moments. Watch the Garp Roger scene in the anime, I get goosebumps in the live action instead. I don't think it's a good idea to take away from the mythos of Roger that fast. Like, I remember at the time of Marineford, even just getting little glimpses of like Roger talking to Garp felt grand. Like, we're getting a sneak little insight. We're getting to see something that's almost like too special to really like break open, to crack open. I don't think it's good to like dilute the idea of Roger this fast. I keep saying this, but I'm going to try to not think about it from a manga perspective. Maybe it's better from the live action perspective. But from the live action perspective, I'm like, that added nothing to this episode. I guess if you're a live action viewer, it's cool to get that little look, and that keeps you hooked. And maybe they're trying to think of more cool scenes to keep you hooked as the episode unfolded, because the beginning parts of the episode don't have much. But they could have done something else. Like, they could have literally showed the dragon scene that already existed in the manga, which is, you know, Dragon talking about like, oh, a pirate, like you know what I mean, like Dragon's introductory scene before he gets to Smoker. Now, don't just show like a hooded guy, like actually use Dragon for the hype tool. I don't know. Them name dropping God Valley this early is crazy. Yeah, because it's not necessary. I think that they shouldn't do things to please the anime and manga fans at the end of the day. I think they should focus on trying, like, because stuff like that is, I think they should focus on trying to make it as good as possible for live action viewers. And referencing God Valley, that's like a, oh my god, look at that sort of thing for us, the viewers, who know the manga. But for live action viewers, that you could have just said gobbledygook, it would mean the same thing. You could have said, you're the hero of Rocky Port. It carries no meaning for them, right? So that's the thing that I'm a little surprised by. Because, yeah, it's just like the canon scenes that we had from the... If I think of Loketown, I think of a few canon scenes, right? Because Loketown really is just a collection of a few really cool scenes, right? I think of the execution scene, which I think they actually did solid. I think the execution scene they did solid, but the whole lead up to it was not good. I think the fight scene was cool with the crew. I think that was the crew all working in tandem for the first time, which was great. So that was good. Then I think of the Zoro Kitetsu scene. I think they got the one moment of the Kitetsu toss right. That was beautiful in live action. But the entire scene just like flew by, and it's like you don't need to make it fly by, because there's so much added fluff to this episode that didn't need to be there. And then the Dragon Smoker scene was just bad. Like, it was genuinely not good. And that's all scene direction. And I'm trying to separate, if I wasn't a manga viewer, would I think these things? I think if I wasn't a manga viewer, I would be like, that dragon, like that scene where that dude grabbed Smoker was like really amateurish feeling. It felt like something like someone making like a YouTube recreation. Like, if somebody were making if someone on YouTube was making, like, filming, like, as a fan, a recreation of the Smoker Dragon scene, that's what it would feel like. Just no weight behind it, kind of just like Like the Smoker Luffy fight felt like it had weight. Like that was getting pretty epic, and you really felt the tension building as Smoker had Luffy down, and like there was nothing Luffy could do. And then suddenly it's just like random person grabs Smoker's hand. You like it's not a surprise at all. Grabs hand. What are you doing? You world government's looking for you, and then they just wind blows, and then they're gone. And then it's like what the fuck? That was weird. That was weird in my opinion. I don't know. Anime Dimension, thanks for the 20. In manga, Bartoli met Luffy first time, but they haven't showed it in the manga. But he mentions about Dressrosa arc since in season 1 they showed Garp in execution, so they used that reference Ace so people will think it might be Luffy. I see what you're saying, that like it could be, people thinking that it could be Luffy's son and everything like that. Like Luffy could be Roger's son. I personally don't think it's a good idea to plant the idea that Luffy is Roger's son early on. I don't think that's a good idea, because one, that's something that likely won't be disproven for a long time. I think it makes the story inherently less interesting if you're thinking from the get-go that Luffy is Roger's son, and then that's later disproven. That might just be me, but I don't like that. I think it simplifies things a little bit too much. Like, put it this way, I think most people really enjoyed the idea that Luffy was like this random kid from East Blue from the get-go. And then as the story progressed, you start learning things like, okay, Will of D, okay, then later on Dragon's Son, so that's like a big deal. And then eventually, Joy Boy Nika, and then stuff gets really crazy. What I don't think is good here is setting up the potential that Luffy is Roger's son for viewers early on, because what happens then is later on it's revealed that Luffy's actually Dragon's son. Now, that kind of has a reverse effect in my opinion, because the idea that like in the narrative for the first all of pre-time skip, right? In the narrative for all of pre-time skip, Roger is kind of the most exciting mythical character that we really have, right? For the first, God knows how many chapters of One Piece. Honestly, up to Wano, once Joy Boy really became a thing, right? Roger was kind of the really heavy-hitting, super, like, iconic, ties the whole story together name that One Piece had, right? So you're already setting up the story with viewers being led to believe that, hey, Luffy might be the son of, like, the most important character ever, right? Then later revealing that Luffy's not his son, he's the son of some other character that we're just name-dropping for the first time, named Dragon. And Dragon, he's a big deal, too. He's the leader of the Revolutionary Army. You've never heard of the Revolutionary Army before, but it's a big deal, okay? That's immediately going to feel like almost a fall-off from, like, the crazier option, which was like Luffy's Roger's son, to like, okay, Luffy's the son of this revolutionary figure. It's a fall off in terms of perceived narrative importance, right? Whereas the route that we went in the manga and the anime was more so like, okay, we have no idea what Luffy's lineage is. We get the idea that he's like a D member, right? That's all we know. But we don't know what his lineage is. And then you get the big reveal that like, Luffy, your father is the head of the Revolutionary Army. That's crazy, right? We were under no pretense beforehand that Luffy is Roger's son. We didn't know anything about Luffy's father or whatever. So then when you find out who his father is, that's a big deal. Teasing instead that his father's the most important person, and then revealing, okay, his father's not the most important person. It's like an important person, but not like Gold Roger important, you know? That has less weight. It's a weird way to go about it. Does that make sense? Bam just had 83 points? What? There's no way. What? This is so sad. Kobe's 81-point game was so iconic. If somebody was gonna like replace it, you would hope it would be someone like Wemby or Luca, Ant. I would take fucking SGA it's almost disrespectful that it was Bam. Oh man, that was Kobe's thing. I don't even like Kobe. But I still like the idea that he had some things that were unique to him. That's fucking sad. Is that the record? A lot of people view it as the modern day record because before that you have Wilt Chamberlain. A lot of people don't even count Wilt Chamberlain because it happened. I would say in terms of recorded games, 81 was the record. That is genuinely sad. It's like Bam Adebayo now has like... Again, I'm not like a Kobe guy like that. It's just like... If someone was going to pass up Kobe... Like, that was like what was really his calling card. You know, the 81-point game. That's what a lot of people think of the first thing when they think of Kobe Bryant. You know, because like that was the thing that was unique to him. Like, you know, Jordan's got more rings... LeBron's got more, at the very least, finals MVPs, more MVPs. LeBron's got the all-time scoring record. Jordan's obviously got more MVPs, defensive player of the year, right? Like, there's other players who've got all these other special things. Kobe, while never in the GOAT conversation, really, among serious basketball fans, he did have some things that were just really cool that remind you, like his final game, his 60-point final game, like the 81-point game. Like 81 points just has a certain, if you're a basketball fan, 81 points just has like a certain like legend to it. Now it just feels like a joke because it's like, okay, literally, you could argue a third tier, scoring in NBA has gotten so dumb that a third tier star could get 83 points at this point. Bam, donate on Bam. He's a good and respected player though. I'm not saying Bam's like a bum. He's a star, but it's just like Kobe's like a legend, and the 81 points game was kind of like his most unique legendary achievement. Like it means something to everyone in basketball, like that 81-point thing. Like other players have hit the 70s and stuff, but it's still talked about like Kobe. He's the guy that hit 81. Bam is good. It for One Piece fans who don't understand, this would kind of be like, how do I say this? If like imagine there was something that really cool that only like Kaido did or something like that, okay? People aren't out saying like Kaido's the best or the strongest of all time, but Kaido's like a legend, right? And then like sometime later, I don't know, like, what's even a good example? Sometime later, like nobody else can replicate this feat, and then eventually, like, what's a good analogy? I don't know, like Magellan does it, or like Jozu, or something like that. Like, these characters aren't bums; they're good, but they're not even in the same like stratosphere as like Kobe. Like Bam Adebayo is not even like a Hall of Famer, you know? It's like Kinemon lasting longer in oil than Odin. Yeah, I don't know. No, not Monteor. Like a respectable character, but just not even a Hall of Fame type character, you know? Bam 83 is genuinely Brook beating Big Mom. I don't know. All right. Getting too off topic here. Good stuff. Good episode, I guess. I think. I just don't think it's a good rendition of Loketown, and I think Loketown's a hard one to mess up. Or maybe I'm being too naive. Maybe Loketown's a really hard one to get right. I don't know. But I did not think that was a great start to the season, personally. I don't know. 43 free throw attempts is hilarious. But the thing is that, like, in the long run, people aren't going to remember that. Like, people will talk about that now, but at the end of the day, people will remember 83. And it'll be, like, no one's going to talk about the Kobe 81-point game anymore. I guess that's the thing that I'm kind of bummed about. Even me as not a Kobe fan, it did kind of erase that sort of thing off the record. People aren't going to talk about the 81-point game anymore. Like, that's just not a thing that people, like, diehard fans might, but I'm saying in, like, the next 10, 20 years, you know, it's not going to be discussed. Like, fans that come along later aren't going to talk about, like, Kobe getting 81 points, you know? At least newer fans could still hear about that and, like, maybe want to look it up or learn about it and stuff like that, but and recognize that's something that was really unique Kobe did. But now it's going to be stuff like, well, if you adjust for pace of play and efficiency and stuff like that, then actually Kobe's 81-point game, like, you know. It almost devalues the whole thing that Bam, of all people, got 83. I remember when Devin Booker scored like 70-something way back. This was like years ago. And then people were like, holy shit, that's the closest anyone's come to Kobe's like 81. And even that felt kind of like weird. Like, okay, Devin Booker. This was before Devin Booker got like really good. But that's less weird than Bam getting the 83. Now it's just like, all right, whatever. Like, it just scrubs it off the board, you know? Like, it's just not going to be, like, Kobe's 81 is just not going to be talked about as much because it's just not the thing anymore. It reminds me of, like, for the longest time, people talked about how Kareem's claim that, like, Kareem has a lot going for him legacy-wise, but people would bring up the points thing, the points record a lot. You don't hear about people talking about Kareem's points record anymore because LeBron passed him up, you know? It's up to you, thanks to the two. Wemby could score 100 points, but this is crazier. Yeah, because, like, Wemby's a player you could expect to do it. Like, if you told me that a player in 2026 is going to pass up Kobe's 81-point game, I would never have guessed Bam. Anime Dimension says, please read my super. I'm sorry, man. Hold on, sorry. I'm sorry. 1 second. Oh, my bad. I missed the second one. Anime Dimension, thanks for the 5, man. In Season 3, when Ace will be introduced, so maybe they will reference there. It might be Ace or keep tension building. Is it Ace or Luffy? Yeah, I guess, but then it's going to be revealed that Ace and Luffy are brothers right away, right? So then it's like, wouldn't that just keep the thing going? Because then they'll just assume that, okay, Ace and Luffy are Roger's two sons. Or it might be established right away that Luffy and Ace are adopted. So maybe that works. I don't know. Shame on the Wizards for making this happen? Yeah. Yeah. Alright, guys. This stream has gone on a little bit longer than I expected, so I am going to have to call it here. Yeah. But I am excited to watch the rest of this, despite me having, some qualms with the first episode. Watch out for my review on Saturday. I'll have time to watch the whole thing.